So we'll pick up with the theme of nitric oxide, and then we'll continue forward a little bit. And this will just talk about general principles now of erectile dysfunction, not specific to, but generally having a healthy vascular system. All right. So, or otherwise, we want to promote nitric oxide production. From a dietary viewpoint, there are ways to do that. For example, spinach and beets. Okay. Or if you want to do an internet search, look up nitrates. All right. Food sources of nitrates. Those are essentially precursors to nitric oxide, which is this important signaling molecule in the endothelium, signaling the blood vessels to relax. So if you perk up levels of nitric oxide just through your diet, you're going to have higher levels and better vascular function, again, anywhere in your body. There are certain supplements that will directly boost nitric oxide levels. My favorite is arginine and citrulline. Mm-hmm. Okay. And arginine is an amino acid. Citrulline functions similarly. They both boost nitric oxide production. Citrulline has, I think, a more potent effect and probably a longer half-life and duration. So oftentimes they're combined. This is often used in a pre-workout. So most quality pre-workouts include arginine and citrulline, if you read the ingredients, with good reason, because they have a huge boost in nitric oxide production. And that's advantageous for any kind of workout, right? Both performance and recovery. Parenthesis, also advantageous for erectile dysfunction. Parenthesis, also advantageous if you have had COVID and you're struggling with chest pains or something like that, right? Okay. For example, I had a young man in his 20s who'd been having these persistent chest pains from COVID. He called me from out of state, had gone to the ER, had gone to cardiology. Everything was looking fine, but he noted that there were these sudden sharp pains that would come on, and it was mortifying for him. You know, he'd feel like he was going to die and something was wrong with his heart. And I explained microclots, and I explained endothelial dysfunction. I talked to him about nattokinase, aspirin, all the stuff we mentioned. And then I said, by the way, let's get you on this arginine powder. I'm going to send you this link to Amazon. Buy this stuff, right? Next time I see him in follow-up, he goes, that arginine is something else, doc. He goes, can I take it more often? He goes, I take that and I feel good for about a solid 5 hours. No chest pains at all. And then I can feel it kind of wearing off. He goes, can I get on this like 2-3 times a day? I said, sure. You know, that's fine. So can be dramatic. So supplements, arginine, and citrulline.
What we're talking about, L-arginine.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the dose? What kind of dose do you recommend usually?
Yeah, we're talking like a 4 or 5 gram dose.
That's what I was wondering.
So imagine like a nice dose. Yeah, yes, exactly. Like a nice rounded teaspoon, something like that, 4 to 5 grams. Yeah, absolutely. Which is to your point, Shawn, is good to be aware of, because there are a lot of supplement gimmicks and marketing, right, built around having a quality ingredient, but giving you a small amount of it in the bottle. Right. So it'll say, you know, pre-workout, it improves vascularity. And this thing has arginine in it, and it's 200 milligrams or something like that.
Right.
So we have to understand what's the scientifically defined minimally effective dose, et cetera. So yeah, that's about what that dose is. Similarly, I talked about beets. You can buy beetroot powder. Okay. You can buy beetroot powder, potent source of organic nitrates, potent in its vasodilatory effects. I'll give you an example. Did you know that a lot of Olympic athletes dope legally with beetroot juice? Are you familiar with this idea?
I do, because I know I follow some cycling podcasts, and they, you know, cyclists will drink beet juice. So when you were talking about beets for erectile dysfunction, I'm thinking, oh, makes sense. Vasodilatory, increases nitric oxide, makes total sense.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. They've done studies where your VO2 max will go up, you know, your power output will go up. If you're a runner, you know, you'll take a couple seconds off your 800 meter time. This has all been done just with a shot of beetroot juice just prior to the workout. Or in some cases, you know, 1 or 2 weeks of consistent use of beetroot juice to build up the nitrate levels in your body. Yeah, that's all been well proven. I remember I read about this several years ago. There were articles about Olympic athletes drinking beetroot juice and this and that. And so I kind of went off down that rabbit trail. Pretty fascinating. But you can buy beetroot powder as well if you're not much a fan of the juice, and just mix that in a smoothie. I just had a smoothie this morning, threw a teaspoon of beetroot powder right in there. My anecdote about that, I had a gentleman I was working with in California, and he's basically a semi-professional climber and teaches indoor climbing at this gym. And he was struggling a little bit with like stamina during his workouts and recovery and things. I talked to him about beetroot juice, nitric oxide, all of that. And he comes back, he's like, Doc, I can't believe this beetroot powder. This stuff's amazing. He says, there's this climb I've been trying to do. And every time I get to this point of the climb, it's about 80% through his climb. He goes, I can't reach anymore. I lock up, I fail. I have tried 15 times and failed 15 times at this same point in this climb. He goes, I took my beetroot powder. The first time I went up, I finished the climb. And he was shocked. And so he did it again, and same thing. And so this guy will not go to the gym without his beetroot powder. And he's telling everybody at the climbing gym about it.